Everyone, welcome to Breslov, Efrat here at Shira David. Baruch Hashem. What another beautiful day. David, thank you for your Tanya class. Every amazing. We finished today chapter 27, Baruch Hashem. And we should be zeicher to finish the whole Seder as always. Okay. Likutey Halachos, Hilchos Tzizit, Halacha Hey. And today we're going to do letter Yud Aleph 11. All right, so basically, let's just recap a little bit what was going on, and then we'll understand why Reb Nosson is going into where he's going into. So we spoke a lot about Yaakov Avinu, and we said Yaakov Avinu, Jacob was able to make the rectification for Adam Arishan. Yaakov Avinu was able to make the rectification for Adam Arishan, and it's a very interesting thing. That's why Yaakov Avinu was able to wear the garment of Adam Arishan. See, we always think that it was part of the script, right? That Rivka told Yaakov Avinu to put on this garment, but it was much, much deeper than that. And that was because Yaakov Avinu was able to be misgaber. He was able to be misgaber and make the mezayna the nishmasa. He was able to always work on the soul food, like we said yesterday, the soul food yesterday, over the mezayna de gufa.
We're not talking
right?
about fried chicken.
That's right. Over the mezayna de gufa, the desires of the eating of the, and we said that's why Yaakov Avinu was able to subdue Esav. Because Esav, the whole idea of Esav is the taiva of achila, the taiva of mezayna de gufa. So when Yaakov Avinu was working and davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because of he found himself in that little bind. He didn't know what to do, and he would turn to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and he was able to strengthen the neshama over the nefesh the nefesh Bahamas, right? Like we were just learning right away. Okay, so while he was able to do that, so that's why he was able to. He was zeicher to wear that garment. Now, we're going to say like this. So now, but then we're going to go into we're going to talk about Noach, right? Because Noach, on the other hand, was not able to make the rectification for Adam Arishan. And let's discuss that now. But Noach still was a tzaddik, so we'll see what the difference was. Let's see now. So what happened? At the end of Parshas Noach, right? So after Noach came out of the Teva, right, and he brought the karbanos to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? He brought karbanos, and it says that he wound up he grew some grapes, and he had somehow it was a miraculous thing, and he had wine, and he drank his wine, and he wound up getting drunk, and he was in his tent. He was in his tent unclothed. His nakedness was showing. Right? So what happened at that time? So Shem and Yefes, so Cham came and saw that, right? Cham. And, he didn't do anything about it. So that's why he was cursed. He was cursed. Cham was cursed. But Shem and Yefes came and they placed a covering over their father's nakedness. And Reb Nosson is bringing down there, tzitzis, that was an idea of tzitzis. So whatever they had, whatever it was an idea of tzitzis. Again, tzitzis is always covering over the things, and it helps us, guide us in the right way. Okay, K'may Shomer B'Seinu Zal, right, Tikunei Zoyer. So if you want to look it up, it's in Tikunei Zoyer, Tikkun Yud Ches, Lamed Zayin. Kamu v'divrei Rabbeinu Zal wrote in lesson 7 in Likutey Moran, Dalet. So in other words, the idea was that they use this. Now let's take that, and where did it go? Where do we go from there? Ki Noach shosa min hayayin, v'yishaker, v'yisgal b'soich oholoi. Because Noach drank, like we mentioned a moment ago, Noach drank wine, and he became drunk, and he was in his tent in an inappropriate manner, in an unclothed, right? The Isa b'zayah kadosh shepogam Noach hayav b'chinas habagam shalchet Adam Arishan. Noach had the begam of Adam Arishan. Why was it a begam of naked? 1 second. Also, it was something to do that he drank. He ate food, and he drank. In this case, he became drunk, and that brought out the nakedness. That brought it out, right?
Eating from the tree.
Right. In other words, Adam ate from the tree, noticed he was naked, right? Here, look at see how Rav Nosson makes these connections.
The parallel's amazing.
Unbelievable, right? Whoever can make that, it's fascinating. Every time I learn it, I'm always amazed at the wisdom of Rav Nosson. It's unbelievable how he makes these parallels and he makes it so clear. It's the deepest things. Anyway, look. So he was in line with that, but again, it was his job to make the rectification for Adam Rishon. That's what we all. Ki chet Adam Rishon haya bechinas begam avay b'Torah now. Shalafam ha'sitrach ha'yoynekes min harachmonis v'adahas. Many times the sitracha takes from the rachmonis. He takes from the das. What does that mean? What does that mean? He takes from the das. What's the das that we said? To understand, to know it's all hashgacha pratis. Anything that goes on in our lives, everything is hashgacha pratis. So the sitracha takes from that. He steals it from us, right? That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to always overpower us. He's trying to take away our rachmanis. He's trying to take away our rachmanis. What do you mean you're going to have rachmanis on this guy? What about me? I need more food. I need more. That's what he's trying to do. Back to the Nachash Ayin Sham. The whole idea that the Nachash was Aram, we said it's either cunning, right, or he was actually naked. And that's where the muzzle in the goof is misgaber, and we're perfectly in line with our lesson in Tanya today, right? Perfectly in line again. Mizayna the goof is trying to overpower the mizayna the nishmasa, right? The whole idea, and that's what the whole lesson was about, right? It's the whole idea is that the mazan of the neshama was if I take my time, that half an hour, and I study Torah instead, I'm strengthening my mezayna the nishmasa over the nishmasa the mezayna the gufa, right? That's what I'm actually doing, right? We're giving, and that's what you said. You're revealing the nefesh elikus over the nefesh habahamas, and you're letting him to shine more. That's what you right? Is that right? Did I get it right?
Yeah,
Baruch Hashem, come. Huh?
We just learned that. Yeah.
We just so now we're reviewing it. Yeah. That's how we always do it.
Can I ask a technical question?
Yeah, sure.
When we said that Hashem gave Adam Arishon the garment, right? Was that a tikkun, or Adam never did the tikkun?
No, Adam never didn't make the tikkun. The tikkun was made later by Yaakov Avinu.
He was given the garment to do it with.
He was given the garment. He could have made the tikkun. He could have, but
only later Yaakov made.
But then he separated from his wife and his begama. The whole thing that was going on there for 130. Whatever.
Does that mean that Yaakov is the reincarnation of Adam?
That's what we said. Like his face,
he had the same face, the same beauty. He had the same tzuras upon him, the same face.
Also, the Kabbalah says that just like Adam is the source of all souls of all mankind, Yaakov Avinu has
that same thing.
That same quality.
Yaakov loy meis, right? The Gemara says Yaakov loy meis, right?
What does that mean?
He didn't die.
Oh.
Yaakov Avinu is around, whatever that means.
Yaakov and Adam are directly
so
connected.
Adam is still around too then.
Well, okay.
Well, whenever we say this, that he made a tikkun, like, what are we doing here then? Like, if he made a tikkun, he made it just a little bit of a tikkun, or like.
He made the tikkun for other whatever that means, but we still have to continue the tikkun. In other words, he brought there was Misa brought into the world. That's one second. Well, you're asking a good point. So when was the final tikkun? When did the final tikkun actually happen? By Kabbalah Satira. By Kabbalah Satira, when we came to Har Sinai, right? So what happened over there? Everyone was healed. Right? Anyone that had any kind of impediment, any kind of problem, if they couldn't see, they had vision. If they couldn't hear, they got their hearing back. If they were missing a limb, they had their limb back. Everything was fixed. Everybody was fixed. Misa was eradicated from the world. Everything was totally fixed. That was the tikkun. Because we came out of Mitzrayim. We raised ourselves up to the 49th level, right? And then Kabbalah Satira was the 50th gate. We made it to the 50th gate. Right? But what happened? Then we got the 2 crowns. Everybody got 2 crowns. Remember the whole story? The Malachim came and they gave everybody 2 crowns, right? And then what happened? We had the Chet Egel. The Chet Egel brought it back, brought it all back again. We brought back that same original Chet of Adam Rishon. It came back around again. But we had the rectification. We made the final tikkun. No, Misa was finished in the world. Everything was done.
Not just amongst the Jews, you're saying, but in the whole world.
I don't know about the whole world. I can't say. I know about us. I don't know about the whole world. I'm sorry. I'm not qualified to answer that.
Billions over there.
I don't know. That I'm not going to say. I'm saying about Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael, we had a tikkun at that time. Yaakov Avinu set that tikkun up that he can have the shiftei card. He can have the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes would go down to Egypt. And when we were in Egypt, we were purified. They cleaned us up. They worked us. Whatever it was. And then we came out of Mitzrayim, and we came out. We went through Kriyas Yamsuf, and that was brought us to the highest levels. Right? It says that even the simplest people, the Shifcha, was able to see a vision at Ma'amad HaSinai of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, see a vision of Nevuah that even Yecheskel and Buzi couldn't see even at the Ma'aseh Merkava. Right? The greatest thing with the Ma'aseh Merkava. Right?
So what you're saying is that we may...
Well, it's all his, because he asked this question.
I love it. But we may make a tikkun,
Yeah.
and we need to continue
It has to
to
always
maintain it,
Yes.
because if we don't, we'll build a cow. A golden cow.
Well, whatever.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And those so we're still dealing with that now. And that's why Mashiach is going to come and make the final tikkun for us. And that's why we said Adam Rishon gave away 70 years of his life in Mashiach, because ultimately he saw in the future what was going to happen. That we would make the tikkun, but then we would fall again, and we would need to make...
He gave it to David HaMelech.
Yeah, he gave the 70 years to David HaMelech, because David Malka Mashiach. And David HaMashiach is going to be the final tikkun, that we won't come back again, that we won't stumble again once Mashiach comes. And that's why we're davening every day that Mashiach should come, because that'll finally bring us to the final tikkun that we've been waiting for thousands of years.
We really have the kavana that we're saying, bring the Mashiach now. Or we just say it every day.
Well, we say, we want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we don't want to wait, right? Okay, anyway, okay. Kishemachnian, umevatlin me'adas achizas asitra achra, bechinas vanochas hayorm, ayedei atfila, bechinas din shel abal koyach. So how do you know? Take back control from the side, from the sitra achra that's in us. Or you could say it's the nefesh Bahamas, whatever you want. How do you take control? How do you get that edge over him? How do you get that edge over him that you could be machnia, the sitracha? Mamish, these are the same words. These are the same words you were learning. Mevatlin achizas asitracha. It's even fascinating, right, David? Okay, only we see the beauty of that, right?
I see the beauty of it too.
You see the beauty. We're wonderful. In this takin hakol ad shezoichen lahanigun. Until you can make that tikkun, until you can be zoicha to the nigun. What did we say the nigun was? The nigun was from the olam hanigin. This is the nigun that's going to be in the time of Mashiach. The Mashiach is going to have that harp with 72 strings. Remember we learned about that, right? That nigun. That nigun.
Do you know what that nigun is?
I don't know what the nigun is. I don't know. But we'll see. Hopefully Mashiach will come today, and we'll be able to listen to that beautiful, beautiful nigun together. Hopefully. But we tap into that. But what we're learning is we can tap into that nigun now via davening a tefillah b'koyach. A tefillah b'koyach. What's a tefillah b'koyach? Anytime we recognize that the challenges that we're going through in life are coming from the Rebbeinu Shalom. We just said that long tachlin, right? So what's the whole long tachlin? It's the most beautiful words. Hashem, why did you forget us? Why did you put us in this situation? Hashem, why don't you reveal yourself? That's what we're doing. That's all tefillah b'koyach. That's a tefillah b'koyach. The whole tefillah. That's why people don't want to say we can get out Tal Tachlin today. They don't want it because the Yetzer doesn't want us to have that tefillah b'din. He doesn't want us to have that tefillah b'din because that tefillah b'din is so beneficial. It can actually bring us to that niga. The tefillah sheb'din can bring us to the niga. Anytime you go to shuls and you see people don't want to do something, they're trying to get out, know that that's something very, very special.
Yeah.
That's something very special. Pay attention. Pay attention. They pay very good attention. It's always, I like to say, we know that, let's say, when you finish after Shemona Esrei, and you do the Tachnus, and then you do the Ashrei and Volotzion, right? So in most shuls, the Ashrei and Volotzion goes zoom. Very fast. They got to go zoom, finish. They go quick. Why? Why? Because that's the whole idea of that time is to bring the Yeridas HaShefa, right? In other words, you daven. Right, and you acquired so many beautiful things that you got it up on high. When we're in the Olam Atzilas, Hashem granted us.
Rabbi Nassim told us we made a bouquet.
We made a bouquet.
Right?
That was in '65, right?
I'll come back to 65.
65. We made a beautiful. But now, how do you get that down? So notice Hashem granted you the Banai, Mizayinai, the Chaya. He gave you everything. How do you get it down? How do you get it down safely? You have all of those impediments on the way. You have all those angels on the way that want to steal it from you, right? So how do you get it down? By saying the Ashrei and the Volotzion and recognizing, and we're saying in the Volotzion it's the same thing. We say Hashem Hashanata B'Seicheinu. We are telling our Kodesh Baruch, you were the one that implanted the Torah, and we're reiterating. We're reiterating all of these words. I think that's the right word to use. I don't know. Anyway, so that's how we bring down the Shefa. That's how we bring down. So that's why they say it very quickly, right? The Karbonis is a very, very special thing, and the Karbonis have such a benefit. You say, if I brought the Karban Chatas, as if if I said the words of the Karban Chatas, as if I brought the Karban Chatas.
That's why nobody says it.
No, don't say nobody.
Nobody. Meaning, but many shuls, they just skip it.
Yeah, I don't understand why here in Eretz Yisrael why they don't start with brachas. Here, I don't understand the reason why in Shul they don't start with brachas. They start with Amar Bishma. What?
There's no reason.
There's no reason.
There's no reason. We should.
Because everyone else is too powerful.
I don't understand.
Because of COVID, I think.
Is that COVID? No, I don't know. No. What?
Never.
No, one thing I'll tell you something. I love davening. I love davening in Yerushalayim. Wait a second. I love davening in Yerushalayim. And by Toldos Aaron, that they do something very, very special. By Toldos Aaron, because it's right across the street from Breslov. So sometimes I would daven by those guys. So every morning, the Shliach Tzibah says brachas. He says brachas, right? In for the thing, and then everybody in unison says brachas out loud. And then the Shliach Tzibah answers Amen to everyone's bracha. So in other words, he says the brachas out loud. Everyone answers Amen to his bracha. Then everyone says the brachas out loud, and he answers Amen to their brachas. Amazing. Mamash amazing.
Beautiful.
Mamash amazing. Yeah, we could take on these things, but okay.
Is anybody doing everything that we're...
No, we're not. No. I'm just saying that these are just beautiful things that we can... Okay. Let's continue. Let's continue here. Yeah, we have a few more minutes. Okay, Nigan. Shu b'chines chut shel tzitzis. That's connected to the chut of the chesed, the strings of the tzitzis. Right? We said that the strings of the tzitzis is 72. Right? We got 72. Remember how we got 72? Let's just remind ourselves. Okay, so we have 4 corners. Each corner starts out with 4 strings, and the 4 strings are really 8 strings because they're shazur, they're twisted, right? So you have 8. And then when you make them, you actually have 16 on each corner. So 16 and 16 is 32, and 16 and 16 is 64, and 8 for the tzitzis itself makes 72. Tzitzis is chesed.
What's the 8 for the tzitzis?
Well, that's how the chesed, that's how they do it.
No, but what is the 8 of the tzitzis itself?
Well, you have actually 8 strings on the tzitzis.
Got it.
Yeah, actually 8 strings, right? If you look at your string, how many strings do you have here? 8. That's it. So for the 8 for the tzitzis. Okay, that's the cheshbon, okay? And that's how you can get the reach habegadim, that beautiful reach habegadim. So we were talking about the whole idea of how we can be mesaken when we do the teichacha, we do it in a pleasing way, and we do it in a nice way. Like we said, that tzaddik can give the teichacha, and it could be nerdi nasan reach. It could be like the nef. It gives a very it masks. It masks the iniquities. It masks it. It makes it have a nice odor. But then when we can make the tshuva, we can make even a nice reach in the begadim. Remember we learned that? Right? So that's connected to that. Okay? Now, and the reach of begadim is a bechina mezayna de nishmasa. right? The food, the soul food, the satiation of the how would you say that? I don't know how would you translate that, David? Mezoined in Ishmasa. That's the satiation.
Sustenance.
The what?
Sustenance of the soul.
Sustenance of the soul. The sustenance of the soul. Anytime we learn Torah, we're giving sustenance to the soul. And that's what we have to, okay, but if a person's not zoicha to do that, chas v'shalom, that he's not able to recognize and to have that tefillah b'kayach, and he's not able to make the mezayna, the nishmas is misgaber over the mezayna the gufa, or misgaber chas v'shalom the mezayna the gufa, then the mazon of the goof overpowers the neshama, the nefesh elikos, shu bechinas achilas eitzadas tayvara. Because again, that's the thing. So every time we can hold back on eating, right? Like we're supposed to hold back on eating in the morning, right? You get up and you'd like to have a nice bowl of cereal or something before you go to daven, but you don't do that, right? So that's holding back right there. That alone is holding back. And you're making a tikkun for the Eitz Hadas Tayvara by holding back right there. How do you like that? Is that amazing? That's a holding back also, right, David? You get up in the morning, you would like to eat something, but you don't eat something. Why? Because I'm not supposed to eat before I daven. And if I'm not eating before I'm davening, so then I'm holding back. So I'm holding back, then I can have a tefillah b'kayach, then I can daven the right way because I didn't let the mezayna the gufa overpower the mezayna the shmasa, right? I didn't let the guf, my body, overpower my neshama, my soul, right? And that's how we can make that rectification. Oz kishein zaychen l'sakin zayis al yedeya tefila b'bechinas din shalabal koyach azay hamedame einay mivara. So then when we don't do that, so then our imagination, we're going back to the medame, our imagination is not in line. So then I'm scared about all different things of the world. I get involved in the things of the world because I'm not connected to Hashem.
If I don't do a tikkun on my eating, it's going to allow my koach hamadama to go more out of control.
Yes.
I guess because I'm just more in service of self.
Which is the same thing you were just learning. It's really, this is the parish on what you were learning. Yeah. Really. And it's because again, if I don't, what was the Tanya saying? The Tanya was saying you have to do it because those little steps make a big change up on high, right? That's what he's saying, right? The little things I do down here, but here we're learning that those little things really make a big change in my mind, in my seichel. It makes a big change in my seichel. How am I going to look at this day? Am I going to have a positive outlook on the day, or am I going to have a pessimistic outlook on the day? Right? Am I going to be optimistic, or am I going to be pessimistic? That's dependent on how I start my day off, and that's why we said the tzitzis is so important. When I look at the tzitzis, so it helps align my koyach hamedam. These are things that we were learning. Rav Nosson is just going over it now. Now let's just do one more paragraph and we'll finish here with Noach. Don't forget, the Torah says Noach the Torah says Noach was a tzaddik. So let us not, and there are those yesh tarshem l'schus, yesh tarshem l'gnai, right? We have all of that, but the Torah still says the words of the Torah. Noach was a tzaddik. He was a tzaddik gadol. He wasn't able to make that tikkun for the Mauritian. In other words, whatever it was, whatever mistake Noach made, whatever, again, the Torah says he was a tzaddik. So, and I'm going based on where Rav Nosson is saying over here, is bringing it down. So Noach didn't make that tikkun. Could be he was not supposed to drink that wine, or not as much as that of that wine, or hold back on the wine. I don't know that. I don't know. But again, it has something to do. He drank the wine, and then he became drunk. And then his nakedness was revealed. Okay? Because Noach didn't daven for his people of his generation. What did Noach? Noach was davening. He was connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but he never thought he was worthy enough to daven for everybody else. He didn't understand that. Noach didn't understand it. He had the power to daven for all the people. He thought he's trying to stay afloat himself. Literally, right? He thought he was trying to... You like that? Noach was trying to stay afloat himself, right?
was celebrating
but
to stay afloat.
he didn't understand that his tefillah, he could have davened and saved all of the people. But look what happens now. Noach didn't daven at all for the people. Avram his spalel al dairei. Avram Avinu davened for his generation. He davened for Anshe Sedom. Remember, he davened for the people of Sedom. He davened to the Rebbeinu Shalom. He wanted to help the people of his generation. But what happened? Avaloi Moshe, not like Moshe, Shemasa Nafshay Bishvil Yisrael Ayin Shama. Moshe Rabbeinu, we know, davened for Klal Yisrael. He put his neck on the line, literally for Klal Yisrael. He said, if you're not going to forgive the Klal Yisrael, take me out of your book. There was a tefillah shebedin mamish, where he didn't care of himself. He didn't care about himself. He wanted to help all of Klal Yisrael. And he so much so that he didn't care at all about himself. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu was able to have that tikkun where Avram Avinu davened for his generation and Noach didn't daven for his generation. That's the main tefillah that tzaddik. Sha'al yedei zeh mesaken hakol. Everything can be repaired. Again, tefillah. Tefillah b'chinas din, when it's a tefillah shebedin. That's the main thing. When you're davening to the Rebbeinu Shalom, you recognize, you're not blaming anybody. You recognize the whole thing is coming because that's the Ratzon Hashem. That's a tefillah shebedin. You recognize it's you, Hashem. The situation I find myself in is because you put me in this situation. Tefillah shebedin. He could take out, pull out of the throat of the sitra achra all that he swallowed up, that he pulled out. He makes him regurgitate it. He could pull it mamish right out. Until everything can be repaired. For this, you need a tzaddik that has mesiris nefesh, like Moshe Rabbeinu was saying. Moshe Rabbeinu was mesiris nefesh for Klal Yisrael. He didn't want to have a nation made with him and that Klal Yisrael should be destroyed. Is that amazing, right? He didn't want to do that. He's a tzir neman l'sholchav. Al shehu ma'aseh nafshei b'shvil Yisrael k'ma'aseh kosav sham. Should we finish it?
What's a tzir?
Is it like not a rock? Is it? No.
Normally it's translated as a path. No, not a path, like a channel.
A channel. He was the Neman, the Sholchav. He was that, either way, he had that mamish connection because he was Ma'aseh Nefesh. He had that connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because, again, that opens up the channel back to Hashem when a person has any Mesiris Nefesh. That's the Isarusa de Lasata that brings this Isarusa de Leila, like we learned the other day, right? All right. Noach wasn't Moshe Nefesh like Moshe Rabbeinu. He didn't daven that tefillah shebedin. He didn't do that. He noticed he didn't do it because maybe he didn't know he can do it. Or whatever the case was, but it wasn't done. Noach didn't daven tefillah shebedin. Al ken lehitzel es b'nei dairei, and therefore he was not able to save the people of his generation. And he couldn't take anything out. He couldn't take anything back from the sitrach. It flooded the world. Because the whole idea of the Sitra Achra, he's constantly trying to swallow up flood up the world, right? Right? The water of sins. Shua Sitra Achra Reitze Lishtoi V'Esa Oilam Chas V'Shalom U'Loitzi Misham Mei Me'adas. He's trying to take away the Mei Me'adas, the das from us. He's trying to take away the das of Hashem. That's what the Sitra Achra tries to do. Zeh nasa yidei tefillah b'chinas din shel Baal Koyach, the tefillah shebedin of the Baal Koyach. Anyone has this possibility can do this too today and daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom in that way of understanding. And we said especially in the morning when you get up early and you daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom and you do the tikkun and you do tikkun chatzos. It has such a powerful effect because again, that's a time. That's a very auspicious to have a tefillah shebedin in that way. Shu mata ois, that's turning towards the might, okay? Who Kriyas Yamsuf, that's how Kriyas Yamsuf came. Bechinas Ata Parata Azacha Yam Shabbat Roshei Taninim Ala Mayim. Right, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made all of those beautiful miracles and everything that happened when it came to Kriyas Yamsuf. Right, Kamesha Kosa Shamayin Sham Umakma Shanoich Leimasa Nafshay. That's why, in other words, the Tefillah Shebedin made Kriyas Yamsuf. In other words, the water is trying to flood. Right, the water is trying to flood, but when you have that tefillah, you can mamish part the water. You can mamish get right through it. Right, Machma shenayich leimasa nafshay v'leias palo tefillah b'chinas din al yedei zel leitiken b'shleimus kayach hamedama. So therefore, Noach wasn't able to fix his kayach hamedama. Noach felt that again, he felt that he couldn't do it. He felt that he didn't have the ability to daven for the people. He felt he couldn't do this. But again, when we understand that we can daven and we turn to the Rebbe Yisrael, and why did Noach do this? So we can know today what to do. We learn from Noach that we can. In other words, Noach didn't understand he could daven for the people, but we know now that we can daven for the people. We know we can daven for Klal Yisrael. We can daven for the world. We can make a difference. And that's the whole point that we're trying to take out of this lesson. So because Noach didn't do this, when Noach was challenged with food, with the wine, he couldn't fix his kayach hamedama, and that's why he stumbled. He became drunk. That's why his nakedness was revealed. But shame and yafes came, and they brought like the Zayah brought. He brought a talis, a tzitzis, to cover him, and that was they were making the tikkun for their father. They didn't make the tikkun, but only came the tikkun really till Yaakov Avinu came. Like we said, the Yaakov Avinu had the same pace and the same beauty as Adam Arishon, because Yaakov Avinu was able to make the tikkun for Adam Arishon. Okay, any questions? Any comments? No?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
It seems that Moshe made the same mistake.
Yeah.
Why didn't he make sure he took all of the Jewish people out of Egypt?
He did. He tried to take all the Jewish people. He tried his.
He did.
Okay. Moshe Rabbeinu tried his best. You know, the Medrash says that all the Klal Yisrael, what we did something very special. Every Shabbos, we had some kind of a Megillah that said from Avraham Avinu that we had, and we would sit down together because Moshe Rabbeinu went to Parai and he told Parai, you know, if you're going to make these Jews work every day, you're not going to give them a day off. You're not going to give them a day off. What's going to happen? You're going to kill them. They're going to die. You're not going to have any slaves. So Parai said, okay, that's a good idea. So what day do you want to give off? What day should I do? He said Saturday. Give them off Saturday. Shabbos. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu. Yismach Moshe b'matnas chelkai. We say on Shabbos, Yismach Moshe b'matnas chelkai. His chelik, that Moshe Rabbeinu was able to perceive the idea of Shabbos. He tried his best. Moshe Rabbeinu tried his best for the people. He tried his best. But again, Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't in Mitzrayim for many years. You have to know that. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't in Mitzrayim for many years. He was in Midian. He came only later. That's why when Aharon came out to Moshe Rabbeinu and said to you, what are you doing? You're coming here with your wife and your children? What are you coming over here? What are you doing? Do you know what's going on over there? Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know what was going on in Mitzrayim necessarily. Aaron told him, and that's why he sent his wife and his kids back. They didn't come in. You understand?
Well, why?
No, I'm trying to answer your question. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu did everything he could for the people.
Did he pray for them to come out?
He did pray for the Jewish people, yes.
To come out with him.
Yes, he prayed for them. But there were those that just didn't want to listen. There were those that didn't want to listen. All through Tanakh, the Nevi'im were crying. All through Tanakh, the Nevi'im were crying. Did we listen always? No. There were those that did listen, and there were those that didn't listen. And that's what the whole idea is, that it was to making the final tikkun that we're trying to make.
Okay, but Noah tried to get people to... He didn't want to build the boat. He tried to get people to, and they thought he was crazy. He said, I'm building this boat because we're going to flood the world if you guys don't fix yourselves.
But fine, but he didn't daven for them. That's the point over here. He didn't daven to Hashem to change their ways, that they should make tshuva. He didn't daven for them. That's what they were learning.
He didn't intervene.
The Torah doesn't say that anyway, though.
What?
That he tried to get people on the boat.
No, we don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know what.
I mean, I don't know
They
if
asked
it is
why he was
mentioned
building a
in it.
boat.
He was building. He was building the boat. It took him a very long time.
Two?
Are we making too much noise?
No, he wants two people
Now
for.
they need us.
Okay. All right. So everyone, shkoyach. Everyone, have a good day. Kol tuv.